The first character I want to put in secondary viable is Metaknight. Metaknight is honestly a really good counterpick because if your character has ladders, or if the ladders work on your character very well, character probably wins the matchup. I think Metaknight has a winning matchup arguably against Game & Watch. Very good matchup against Rob. Maybe a good matchup versus like Samus. So he's a good check for a couple people. Bonk is pretty good, not gonna lie. But like if you run into a matchup that is hard, like you just lose, right? Like, you know, Bonk had a really good bracket player, which was Waddy, because he had to fight Rob Mewtwo, which those are two matchups that Meta Knight arguably goes even or beats because he hits you and kills you. So Meta Knight is definitely a good secondary. I don't think you should main the character, but he's definitely a very good secondary. With Bonk and you have Ye that are good with the character. So he's useful, but I don't think he's super good. Future ESAM here again, so I wanted to talk about Meta Knight's buffs because I do think they kind of make him more of a polarizing character in a good way for him because forward air, back air, and up smash all got buffed. And so forward air and back air obviously are going to help his edge guarding, specifically back air, of course. That move is already incredibly strong and now it's more powerful. Same with forward air, and up smash is going to have it like hit better. I think those are really important because I do think that along with the ladder combos that Meta Knight is obviously known for, it's his best matchups are ones that really works in. If he can edge guard a character, that is also a huge deal because just against poor recovery characters, he hits them a single time, doesn't ladder them necessarily, but hits them all the way across the stage and then gets edge guards. And with Bear, like, it's gonna kill so early now. Like even the light characters that have good recoveries, like let's say Pac-Man, Pikachu, those are the two I really think of off the top of my head. Characters like Rosa that don't necessarily die to the initial hit, but get hit off stage, but then can make it back later with their recovery. This back air and forward air buff can make it a little bit more difficult for them to live because if you're wrong once, that back air or forward air now kills you instead of almost killing you. It makes his out of shield options better, and I think that's actually pretty important. I wouldn't put him above still this tier, but like even though this tier is not really ordered, I would still probably bump him up in it, at least like 5 or 6 spots. I do think the buffs help. Maybe Lucario's here. I'll put Lucario in viable, because he's not like as bad as these characters, but like he's just no reason to secondary him, but he's like minorly viable. Next character down here, Mii Swordsman. I don't think Mii Swordsman is particularly useful. Still a sword character, why would you not pick up a bunch of people? Like sword characters are one of the strongest archetypes in this game, so like why would you play Mii Swordsman? But also, he has projectiles and he can be annoying. He still like has decent neutral, pretty safe moves, good killing, great up air. Oh my god, his up air is so good. Chakram's a good projectile. Tornado's an okay projectile, just it still forces people to like air dodge to the ground and stuff. Like if they don't have an option, sometimes people just get hit. Or like have to air dodge up, in which case then you just like dash grab and forward throw them off stage. It can 2-frame, and depending on your set, like he can have a good recovery, he can cheese people with like the multi-part up B going down. So I think he's like not as bad as some people think, but he's still not good, basically. Think Gunner's worse? No, Gunner's absolutely not worse. What the f? Gunner has like the second best ledge dropping in the game. Again, this is unordered, just for reference. I'll try to order it later, but like don't yell at me if like a character is like lower than you expect them to be relatively, because these tiers are still huge. Rosa, I think she is viable. I don't think she's super good. I don't think you should solo main Rosa ever because she again has a lot of bad matchups and a lot of characters can rush her down and kill her. But in the matchup, she's good. She's good. She's good against a lot of zoners. She's good against characters that have really susceptible disadvantage states, and she's good against characters that need to get in. Like we saw Rosa beat Game & Watch, right? DeBuzz beat Meister's Game & Watch. Probably still an even matchup. I don't think winning. Maybe winning, but like it's just a character that keeps you out, good against Sonic, good against like a couple of important meta characters. But like I still think overall she gets overwhelmed and you have to be really good with her. And as for Rosa, of course, her buffs always kind of take a little bit to figure out if it's good. I already thought Rosa's down smash was an amazing move, good for tech chasing and stuff like that, but now it's going to be more consistent because of the inward hitbox being bigger and also thicker, which is nice for Rosa because down smash, again, one of her better moves, so the fact that it made it more functional is really nice. The bigger buff, I don't exactly know how it works. I don't even know how it works with my character because I haven't played a Rosa since the patch, is that certain moves won't put Luma into tumble anymore, and if they do put Luma into tumble, it's going to be less far. Basically, that's going to make entirely different routes to kill Luma. For certain characters, I'm sure some moves still work, and so some will be able to have the same game plan, but I think that's a really big deal. I mean, for me, like, I can imagine if my back air didn't put Luma's into tumble anymore, like, that would hugely change the matchup, and I'm sure there are probably a couple of relevant matchups at least where things like that happen. So I think that could be a big buff for Rosa. Again, no idea right now, I haven't seen any specifics on it, but it could be a big deal, and if it is like actually a bit harder to kill Luma, I could definitely see Rosa bumping up to the solo viable tier, which is the tier above the secondary viable. But yeah, I mean, I honestly am excited to see this because I love watching Rosa in this game. I think she's one of the coolest characters. She's just not super good. So I'm excited to see if this actually makes a difference, because I would love to see more Rosa at top level play. To Buzz, stop going Wolomar versus me and just go Rosa, it's fine. Banjo. I think this character is not good, but also he's still good enough to annoy people. He still beats a ton of, like, enough characters, because some people still struggle to approach him. He still has got a bunch of good tech. Maybe he's lower than this, but like, I think he's still good enough to secondary. Just, I mean, there's not a real reason to secondary him as a zoner character unless you like him, because like you could definitely just play Samus or Mewtwo or like others, Zoner, Rob, Pac-Man, etc. But like he can be useful. It's not like Marth where he's strictly outclassed by other characters, because Banjo's still unique, has invincibility, a better recovery than a lot of Zoner characters. So like he's still like good. Also down here, Incineroar. I think Incineroar is really exploitable and honestly not that good of a character, but all the Incineroars be doing kind of good. Mystery Soul got 9th at port priority. Skyjay has top 32'd or better like 3 of the events since coming back. So there's something about this character that's working, and this is kind of my compromise. Like this tier is kind of like my compromise of, I think the character sucks, but like they're doing well, so I guess they're good. Yeah, I mean, I played Skyjay in tournament twice now. One at the pre-glitch local, and then I played him at main stage. He's really good, and he's just terrifying, right? Revenge is still good. You know, Alolan Whip kills mad early. He has some cheese. He has some good things. And if you're not a character that can strictly just run away from him the whole time, you might struggle. And his recovery is edgeguardable, but it's not like the easiest to edgeguard. It's harder to edgeguard than, let's say, Dr. Mario's, in my opinion, because he can at least recover high well. And he has, of course, great normals. Again, if this character was faster, he'd be broken. But he's not. Like, if you get a read on if you get a player read as Incineroar, you're just gonna like destroy people. Also down here is Bowser Jr. Yeah, Bowser Jr. is overall, he's okay. I think when people know the matchup, he's not that great of a character, but again, you can't ignore some results. Right, like Yoda Cage getting, what, 13th or 9th at Glitch. He's done consistently well. Catch Up beating Light. You know, like, there's enough spots where it's like, okay, this character's not bad. Like, he's definitely not unviable. He's not good, but he's not unviable, right? For Bowser Jr., unfortunately, I've seen a lot of people be excited about this buff. I really don't think it makes that much of a difference. It's pretty hard to hit spin out. An up smash is honestly probably the bigger buff, but killing 4 or 5% earlier isn't a huge deal. Again, it does help, because I've seen plenty of situations where Bowser Jr. up smash almost kills, doesn't, then they lose the stock or the game, or like a game or a set because of it, so it definitely helps. The spin out obviously helps. It helps with shield break punishes. It probably is better for shield breaking with the cannonball setup as well, but I really just don't think his buffs matter that much. Like down tilt, it still doesn't really have its place in Bowser Jr.'s toolkit, even if it is better. And so yeah, I'm kind of just pessimistic about these. I still think Bowser Jr. is basically the same exact character, but I could be wrong. Obviously, it's been a day and a half since the patch, but I really don't think it makes that much of a difference. Down here is also Kirby. I think Kirby's better than, again, I've always thought Kirby was better than people gave him credit for. I think this character is really good. Well, really good. I think the character has stuff. Kirby is one of the best crouches in the game. Really, probably the best set of tilts in the game, or one of them. Good edge guarding, pretty good disadvantage. The problem is he's edge guardable, he's slow, he can get camped out pretty hard. Like if you have the lead against Kirby, you can just run away from him the whole time. But again, he has a lot of good combos, especially with like Dare Ride and stuff like that. Character's really awkward because he forces the ground game, right? Like he constantly plays the ground game, which is very unlike most characters in this game, because a lot of characters like to jump. And even though Kirby has a bunch of jumps, you're generally going to want to like do like short hop fairs, or like down tilt, up tilt, etc. Which is interesting, but I think he's better than people give him credit for, but still not super good. Also down here is Ridley. I think Ridley's got some stuff, obviously. There are a lot of Ridleys in like the MDVA region for some reason, but I think that Ridley overall is just not super good. He has an awkward recovery, even though it's hard to mess with. His command grab's reactable, but it does a ton of damage. He doesn't really have that many combos, but the combos he has are very good, like down throw, fair, F tilt does a lot. His Nair is an incredible move. His back air's good. Like, he has a bunch of good moves. They just don't, as I mentioned before in other tier lists, it doesn't really coalesce into a kit. He's good. He's a good character. I think all these characters are good characters, but like just underwhelming in some aspect. And I think Ridley's definitely in that aspect. Like, if he gets the reads of the forward smash, like, he's good. If he has the edge guards, he's great. If you get the spike with the up B, he's super good. Like, Nair from Mexico, his Ridley is insane. He's one of the people to beat Spargo since Offline came back, and that is a very, very small list of players. The next character down here, I saw them before, is the Belmonts. Dom's been doing stuff. But also, then he got like 49th at main stage. Yeah, that's the Cosmos, that's a rough matchup. And then Stroder beat him. So again, this is 17th, 25th, 33rd. So we got like 33rd, which is like pretty good. It's not great, but it's pretty good. Main stage was crazy. Main stage was insane. He's still like top 5, I think, in SoCal. He's doing really well, but I just think, again, he's inconsistent, and he still has a ton of bad matchups. So he's definitely, I don't think solo viable, but he's definitely like a better character than at least I thought before. Yeah, he's still down here. Another character who's down here is Rool. Dude, I thought this character used to be like terrible. But yo, Kirby Kid just hits people. Kirby Kid is so good. He's actually so good. I played him and I watched him at Smash World Tour East. He's so good. Like, and he's doing it with Rool. But like, I think Kirby Kid's doing so well and consistently beating like several players. And I think he's a good player. I think this character has the tools to be better than I expected. I mean, before I would put Rool like here, up there. But I think after watching Kirby Kid and understanding the character, especially with like all of his 2-frame abilities, down air, back air, down tilt can 2-frame into up smash, which is overall Rool's pretty decent. Still has a ton of losing matchups, but it's harder to deal with him than I thought, especially after the recent buffs. But yeah, I think Rool's pretty good. Like, again, not great, but pretty good. Oh, Dedede. I miss Dedede. Dedede still kind of sucks. Dedede's not good. Dedede's probably here, honestly. But, yeah, Dedede sucks. I can't believe I missed Dedede. Dedede's not good. I think this character's really bad. I think he's very slow. I think he's a bad projectile character. He's a bad heavy. He doesn't have the crazy good things that heavy has, heavies have, which is normally, like, ridiculous kill potential, except for, like, dash attack. I think Dedede is, like, a very underwhelming character. I mean, Adamisk be doing work, so honestly I'm gonna put him here. Adamisk is beating people that he shouldn't, so that means either everyone sucks, or the character's not as bad as I thought, because I mean, he beat like Light. Like, after Light beat SmashCon, he literally beat him. So, yeah. That's rough. Beat Dark Wizzy at Summit, and has had some pretty good wins. I mean, he was like in top 3 of a New York regional. So, the character's good enough, clearly, to do something. I don't think he's a good character, but I guess I wouldn't put him in the unviable here. The next character I want to talk about, Pit Dark Pit. Again, they share the same spot for me. I think that they are good, not great. Shiny Mark wants to play this character more seriously, which I'm very excited for. Shiny Mark's Pit's kind of crazy. But I think the character's just overall underwhelming. He doesn't have really any bad things about him, but he also doesn't really have any super good things about him. Decently fast, decently good edge guarding, decently good combos. Well, he has some actually pretty good combos with like Nair drag down stuff, but they're niche and they're difficult to hit. So he just doesn't have anything crazy about him. Like, when I'm playing a lot of characters in this game, even if I'm winning by a lot, I'm like, okay, but I gotta watch out for like their couple things. Whether it's like the stupid edge guard, the stupid combo, the stupid kill potential, whereas Pit doesn't really have that. It's just like, if you're beating Pit, you're actually beating Pit. Pit and Dark Pit, I mean, good in different matchups. But I really just want, like, I think Pit can be better than this, but I still think he's just underwhelming overall. I think Robin's also down here. I think Robin's still not super good. Slow, easy to edge guard, runs out of resources. If Robin like always had 11 sword, this character would be threatening. But the thing is, like, if you swing too much, suddenly you don't have kill move or kill confirms or edge trapping. That's very good. You don't have fire. You don't have good ledge trapping. You don't have a kill jab. You don't have anything, and people can rush you down and kill you because of that. He struggles with short characters. They struggle with rush-down characters, characters that can deal with projectiles, better sword characters. So I just really don't think Robin is up to snuff, basically. I know people think this character's good. I don't see it. I really don't. Toon Link, of course, pretty good zoner, honestly. I think Toon Link has a lot of unique things that other zoners don't have. Mostly the fact that he's super floaty with a really good jump, and of course a sword. Most zoners don't have swords, except for the other two Links, except I wouldn't even consider Link a zoner. I would consider Young Link a zoner, but not Link. Good 2 frames, pretty decent kill potential, consistent kill confirms with Boomerang and Bomb into like up air or forward air. Z-drop Bomb into up air is incredible. The fact that he Z-drop bombs is like, his bombs are pretty unique in general with just like their attributes, which is good for him. But overall, I think Toon Link is just not quite strong enough to be solo viable, but he's like pretty good. Not great, but pretty good. Another character I put down here is Zelda. I don't know why they keep buffing this character. I really wish they would stop. Zelda to me is terrifying, because I still don't understand how to fight that character, but still overall underwhelming. If you can deal with Nehru's Love, you can deal with Phantom. Like if you can like mid-range her really well, she struggles a lot. She has a really bad disadvantage. One of the worst juggle states in the entire game. Like even including the bad characters. She has really good, like when she's working, but when she doesn't, it's really bad. And the problem is there are a lot of characters in solo viable and super viable that really force her to not exist, which is a problem. Villager is okay. He's a mediocre zoning character, but I do think that he has some uses because he has things like bowling ball, up smash out of shield, up tilt. Of course, his zoning is way more annoying than Isabel's with slingshot, side B. His nair is really good as well. I think that overall, Villager's good. He has some good stuff about him. He's definitely playable, but I don't think he, in general, good. He gets outclassed by a lot of characters. He gets rushed down. He gets edge guarded. Doesn't have a hitbox on his recovery. It's just hard for him to do what he needs to do consistently. I want to see Pokelam at majors because he's probably the best villager that I've seen. Rest in peace, Renai, just not being able to enter tournaments because he works on the game. But I think Villager has some good stuff, but I don't think it's good enough to compete with most of the characters in it.
Pikachu, busted.